Sometimes an article just drops and I have to, well, drop everything and record a video. And so this won't be highly edited. It's just going to be a stream of consciousness that I'm going to tell you it's about time. There are people in this world who are actors or actresses by accident, and they don't open films. They're not considered stars. They're constantly cast as leads, and the films just underperform if you want to be kind about it. I would like to say they create flops, and they're expensive flops, not just like, a few $100,000 of a miss on a film. The investors lose money, the studios lose money, everybody on the set loses money. Well, maybe not everybody, especially not the actor or actress. But in this case, I'm okay with the kind of fail that we have here in the one and only Rachel Zegler, because she opened up a movie called Y2K. This is an easy mode film. It's something from, well, my youth you could just keep making again and again and again. This is a possible farm for a comedy, or many of them, if you do it right. Instead, Rachel Zegler's Y2K bombs completely. The box office opened to $2 million. And yeah, this really undermines the idea of a rising star. Our friend Marvin wrote a story over there at That Park Place covering this, suggesting that maybe the future Snow White Rachel Zegler is a constant bomb threat. I would think so, at least as far as weekend box offices go. And there are only been, I think, a handful of films that she's been in, and yet nearly all of them have been complete flops. Snow White will be the most epic, but you can't leave this one out because despite its meager budget of $15 million, as Marvin points out in his article, this film made two. Now, you didn't see a lot of advertisement for this film, and why would you bother? You've already got somebody who creates their own advertisement or promotion. It's almost always all negative, and there was no chance this thing was going to turn the corner. So, likely the studio A24 sold this off well in advance to multiple locations just to eke out the budget and a small profit. At least I hope for their sake they did, because I don't think this is going to make much more. This is one of those films that hits the box office, completely fails, and everybody walks away from it. In fact, here's a little trip down memory lane courtesy of Marvin in the article. West Side Story was a remarkable flop. They've tried to point to a lot of reasons why, and some of them I will give them. Soon after, you had Shazam, Fury of the Gods, which was also a terrible disaster. Didn't do anything to turn around DC's dismal box office streak, and I think that's a proper observation there. Even the Hunger Games that she was in, the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, became, well, I wouldn't say a major failure. I would say it was a failure. It didn't really seem to make a profit, spent an awful lot of money on promotion with nothing to show for it. With the only standout item about it, the fact that it actually was the worst performing Hunger Games movie to date, and it also had the greatest adjustment possible because of inflation. The upcoming Disney Snow White film in 2025, I think that's March 21st, by the way, that is going to be a big, big problem. There are no projections yet. It's way too far out. There are rumored re-manipulations of this, possible some shots being done. Hard to say, can't confirm, don't really care. But right now, this has the largest ratio of any of the Disney trailers of note that I think I've ever seen. 702,000 dislikes to 27,000 upvotes. That's not very many, and that's on a very limited number of total views, considering this is a major channel, well over 5 million, I think, subscribers. And as Marvin points out, and I said earlier on, Y2K is a comedy horror film. It didn't have a huge budget. Zegler's quote unquote star power was supposed to be the driving force behind the promotion. Did you see any promotion? I know I didn't. Marvin couches it as an interesting Hollywood experiment. I couch it as a complete and total disaster. And again, as pointed out here, West Side Story had Steven Spielberg and a previous iteration of the film. Zegler was, of course, a unknown at the time. Shazam, Fury of the Gods, and Hunger Games were part of larger franchises of, well, larger things. So they all should have been something that hit, and yet none of them really did. Y2K is the first movie that's being sold exclusively on Zegler's ability to move tickets, to open is the fancy way to say it. And this thing closed almost immediately. The film pulled in 2.1 million in its opening weekend, and Zegler's movie actually came in eighth at the box office in a field that really didn't have much change. Highlighted here, you had Moana 2 in first place. You had Wicked, of course, in second, and you had Gladiator in third. It's the third week that we've seen two of these films, and the second for Moana. These numbers are doing well, with Moana reaching over $600 million globally. That's a big, big number. Now, Wicked has seemed to slow down, and Gladiator is slowly petering out. And, well, it's not really the best entry in what they're calling a franchise with two films. Well, that's because you really should have stopped with one. Interestingly enough, one of my favorite characters from Indian cinema returned this last weekend and finished a considerable distance in front of Zegler's movie. It was Pushpa Part 2, with a foreign film drawing $9.3 million domestically. Zegler, you gotta do better. Worse yet, in sixth place, again above Zegler's movie, is the film re release of 2017's Interstellar. That's right, re release. It pulled in $4.4 million this weekend on a mere 185 screens domestic. Now, I believe most of them, if not all of them, were premium large format, so they do pull in a little more per ticket. But overall, it's a re release that has basically doubled the box office of Rachel's film. And it's, again, a re release. And Zegler wasn't getting any love from the critics or the fans at any time. She had terrible notes from Zegler's film, certified rotten with a 43 critic score, and an audience score sitting at 50%, likely to go down. So if you're counting Zegler's failures at this point, well, this one may be one of the worst. Not the worst, but one of the worst. After all, Shazam Fury of the Gods was a terrible disaster. So, as this box office segment comes to an end, what do you think caused the problem for Rachel Zegler's Y2K? Do you think it was her presence? Was it a lack of advertisement? Was it just a lack of interest in a dead comedy horror film that everybody knows isn't going to be funny? And of course, my last question is, Rachel Zegler ever going to open a film? Or is she one of these pushed stars that really will have a career of no consequence? Let me know down in the comments section below, of course. And while you're down there, double check you're still subscribed. If you're not subscribed, take advantage of the free offer. Hit the subscribe button, absolutely free. Turn on the notifications, and you'll miss nothing from this channel. And you don't want to miss things, because this channel is releasing stuff all the time, along with my sister channel, That Game Place. And on that note, be sure to take care of yourself. Take care of others. Wash your hands, because it's good hygiene. And this is a time of year we all tend to get a little more thickly. And until next time, see ya.